Alright ladies, let's talk about singleness. Hi guys, I'm Vivacious Hannah and welcome to this video. So a couple weeks ago I put out a video for Christian guys based on what we Christian girls, or more accurately Christian ladies, look for in guys. And I mentioned that I was going to do a video for the ladies, and this is that video. I wanted to make this video on how to maximize your singleness as a Christian woman. And of course, this list doesn't matter if you end up getting married or not. It's just something that I think is important to think about. You know, like how to grow yourself best, because so many of us are like, yeah, you know, make the most out of your singleness, and then we just sit around and we're like, well, just waiting around for my Prince Charming. Where is he? I don't know. I hope I'm a good wife, hope I'm a good mother, but you know, for now I'm just gonna wait. Oh well. Let me write him some letters to look at in the future that he can be like, aww, and then, you know, let me just start to plan our wedding even though I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is, but I'm looking for him, and is he coming soon? Like, be honest with yourself. How many of us do that? I do it all the time. And I have just been looking for different videos and different blog posts on like how to maximize your singleness, because everyone says singleness is the time to grow, but I kind of feel like we don't really. We just say we're growing, but we're really just being stale. And honestly, I just figured the best place to look for advice on this was Proverbs 31. It talks about like this great godly wife, but we could adopt so many of these principles into our lives right now. Whether we get married or not, we should try to live lives like this. And I'm gonna try to make this so it's not specifically for, you know, when you're married or anything. I'm gonna try to make it more generalized than that. Of course, I don't want to be like twisting scripture or anything, but for example, like the first one I'm gonna go into, verse 11, it's about being trustworthy. And I don't think we should only be trustworthy in our marriages, because how does that make any sense? So I think it's important for us to be trustworthy in any relationship we're in, whether it's family or friends or teachers or coworkers or whatever it is. I think it's so important that we choose to not lie and to be able to have people's trust. And verse 12 basically says don't do bad things. I hope I don't need to expand on that. I hope you guys wouldn't be doing bad things. Do good things. That's some quality advice right there. And verse 13 talks about how we have willing hands. And I was thinking about that, like how can you have willing hands? Like, you enjoy doing the job you're doing? Does that mean at work I enjoy making sandwiches and I'm like willing to cut potatoes even when they take a while and they're sometimes a pain in the butt? Like, what does that mean exactly? And I was thinking like maybe it's more of a sacrificial thing. Yeah, we should be willing to do our work, but also even if we're not, we're still sacrificing that dislike for doing some certain thing. And of course, I'm not saying like, you know, I dislike having sex out of marriage, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I mean that in like biblical terms, strictly speaking in biblical terms. Maybe if someone needs help and you're just like, no, I just can't, I wanna focus on me right now. I think maybe we just put that thinking aside and go to work. We make ourselves willing to help other people. Verses 14 through 16 talk about how this woman works hard to provide for all these people, whether it be, you know, through food or profit. She buys like a winery, is it? I don't even have my Bible open and I'm going over these verses. Like, Hannah, what you doing? Yeah, so she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard, and it's talking about how she rises while it's still dark outside and she makes food and everything. So like being a godly woman requires hard work. It's not something that's just gonna come to us. We don't just sit around and like, you know, wait for God to shine that holy light on us and then we're like totally excited about doing his will. No, we gotta work hard for that. And it's not that God's like keeping things intentionally from us, like, oh no, you have to wait until you're this spiritual. Like, God doesn't work like that. So if you think that God works like that, I'm here to tell you that he doesn't. I mean, spiritual maturity does matter. It is an important thing to have. But basically what I'm saying is that's not the end all be all. Verse 17. She dresses with strength and dignity. This one, maybe gonna ruffle some feathers, but it's kind of, to me, a verse about modesty, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well, but especially the dignity part. So I personally kind of feel like to keep my dignity, I don't want to be showing off my boobs and my butt in everything I'm wearing. Like, I don't want to wear these tiny little shorts that show off my butt. And can we just take a second and like talk about how hard it is to shop? Oh my gosh, like I cannot find good shorts. Like I don't want to wear tacky Bermuda shorts because those go down to your knees and they're just like icky. But then I don't want to wear super short shorts, so I try to find some that are like maybe in the middle, like mid-thigh, and then those just end up rising to my butt anyways, so I'm not always trying to like pull them down and like make sure that they're staying at my mid-thigh. I get that it's hard to shop as a woman, but try to maybe make more dignified choices. Figure it out within yourself what your line of dignity is, I guess. Because, I mean, there's probably something like Christian women definitely should not be wearing. I don't feel like I'm responsible enough to draw that line. I don't feel that I can make that rule for everyone. So just figure it out for yourself, like where you draw that line. And verse 20 talks about how this woman actively helps those who are needy. So we can't just look at someone on the street and be like, that sucks, and go on with our day. Like, we should be helping them. If it's not with money, then help them with your time. Like, take some time and hang out with them. Like, learn their story, because I'm sure they will be appreciative of anything that you can do, even if it's just giving your time. And, of course, praying for them. Now, verse 21 says that she prepares for what is to come. So again, that's meaning that we're not just sitting around being lazy and like, well, just waiting around for life. Like, this kind of goes with the hard work thing again. We should be preparing, because if you don't have anything else to prepare for, God is coming soon. Don't you think we should be preparing for that? And verse 25, it's a pretty simple idea. It just says to be joyful and laugh. I mentioned in my last video that I was able to go to a conference, and I actually was able to see Margaret Feinberg speak there, and she has a whole book and like a Bible study about joy. And I would really recommend you guys check it out. I heard her talk about joy for like an hour, and she is just the most precious human being I think I've ever seen. She's adorable. She has so much wisdom in her heart. Verse 26 tells us that she teaches with wisdom and kindness. And I was thinking, like, do we do that these days? Most of us look up to petty people as like gods. Of course, nothing should be a god above God himself. What about pettiness is wise and kind? Nothing. So verse 27 mentions kind of how she's, not lazy and idle and just, again, sitting around in her life. She is proactive. And I think it's interesting that this passage just kind of emphasizes that so much. Like, don't just sit around and wait for life to come to you. Be proactive about life. If you're not sure what God's will is for you, just try something. And if he closes those doors, then either that's not where he needs you, or it's not where he needs you right now. Verse 28, and I don't think this is a coincidence that it's so late in this passage, says that she is respected, because if we do all of these things, pretty sure we're gonna get some form of respect. And it's not that we do these things to get respect, it's just a byproduct. We do these things to live our lives for God. Respect is just something we get as a bonus. And verse 30, most important part, she fears the Lord. She obeys the Lord. She listens to the Lord. She is friends with the Lord. So I really hope all you ladies out there were able to learn something in this. And honestly, you could just take baby steps with all of these things. Just pick one and work on it and work on it and work on it until you've got it down. If you need to learn how to be joyful, just take baby steps to get there. Don't try to accomplish this whole passage like in one night, because it's not gonna happen. It's something that's a process, but remember, do not be lazy about it. Another point that I wanted to make really quickly before I finish this video is that I think we single women have an advantage. And that advantage is that we can read books on being single and on being married, because if we're reading books on being married, we're just preparing ourselves for marriage better. Whereas if married people try to read books about being single, they're just like, this doesn't apply anymore. Now, I hope you guys like this video. If you did, you can give it a nice thumbs up for me. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them below. If you have any ideas on how to be a better single Christian woman, put those ideas below. And subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content from my channel. And that's it for this video. Now go out there and make someone smile today.